All right, what's up, y'all? Been a while. For those of you that are new, welcome. My name is Shay. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. And yeah, subscribe. Let me know if there's anything you want to talk about in the comments. We're a self-improvement channel, so I'll talk about literally anything you guys want to talk about. So yeah, just let me know. And yeah, let's get started, right? So today I wanted to talk about clothes. Yeah, I know. Pretty bland topic today, but like specifically uh what it is that you want to wear. Okay? What do you want to wear? Now, there's a few things I want to address before I get into that specifically, okay? So, there's a few ideas I want to address. So the first idea around clothing, right, tends to come off as, okay, I don't care what anybody thinks of me, and you have the people that do care a lot of what other people think of them, right? So let's take those both of those extremes, right? And I'll tell you why they're important in a little bit and why you should care. So we have one end of the spectrum, right, which is I don't care at all. Okay, I don't care at all what other people think. I'll wear whatever I want. And then you have the other end of the spectrum, which is like, okay, I care a lot about what other people think. Okay, so people tend to say they don't really care about what other people think, but if you really got to that stage, right? If you actually really got to that stage, well, you'd kind of evolve to a point. I guess you could call it evolve to a point, but you would essentially go to a point in which you don't care about anybody else. You don't care to be sociable enough to be liked. And I'd like to think that that's not even true for introverts, right? Like introverts are very picky about the people that kind of surround themselves with, even if it's like a few amount of people, right? But they're still people. Like it has to meet some sort of Maslow's hierarchy of needs of having that social interaction and relatability with people, right? Even if it's a small group. So when people say that they don't care, understand that it's not, you're not necessarily cool when you say that. It's fine if this is the way you feel and stuff like that, but I'm saying like you don't have to feel this way. It's so uncool to care about other people's opinions, especially the people that you value. If you truly don't care about other people's opinions, right, then what do you say about the people that you actually value? Do you just not value what they say? Like, how does that work, right? So there's going to be some people that you value the opinion of, and that's completely and utterly fine, in my opinion. Like, for example, maybe your parents. Maybe for you, it's your close group of friends. But then that slowly starts pushing into the other extreme, right? When it becomes too many people, it's like you need to take a select few and just have those as the people you care about your opinion. And only you can determine that. Only you really draw that line, because when it starts moving to the other side of the extreme, which is I care about everybody else's opinion, that simply boils down to if you're friends with everybody, you're friends with nobody, right? Because then you're trying too hard to, again, we've heard this plenty of times. I don't need to tell you this. Please other people. You're being a people's pleaser, right? And this tends to happen very much when it comes to very relatable outfits, right? Think about it. If you're wearing what the general population would just consider, oh, nice, good, you're trying to get the attention of the general population. Now, when it comes to dressing, there's something important to consider, right? People have this idea is like if you dress more relatably and more generally, you'll generally be more attractive. Because let's be honest, that's why we dress up. That's why we dress the way we do. People can say all the time, oh, we do it for ourselves, but there'll always be that hint of, I do it for other people as well. You do care, and that's fine. That is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, you want to look presentable, you want to look a certain way, you want to have some sort of image or come across as someone, that's fine. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know where this idea came from that you don't need to care at all and stuff like that. I've never understood that, because when I went into it with that mindset, it all it did was kind of all these emotions that would build up about like, oh my God, they care, or this happens. Like I would try to fight it. But then I realized, wait, the truth is I do care about their opinion, you know? And maybe there are some people that I shouldn't care about their opinions as well, right? And that takes a little bit of like um, knowing your beliefs, right? And changing up your beliefs, which is a whole separate video. But today I just wanted to talk in and lean in more so on wearing what it is you want. So of course on this spectrum right here, right, of wanting to be as most relatable as possible, you might, I'm not saying you would, you might find yourself trying to please everybody. Now, there's a caveat to this, right? There's some people that wear what just happens to be the trend, right? What happens to be the trend and what is the most relatable thing to wear, they just happen to be wearing. So let me give you an example. Let's say you actually thought Air Forces were a cool shoe, okay? Like you actually thought that and you started wearing them and then they become trendy or something like that, or they've actually been your style the entire time and, they've now become a trend. Now people are going to look at you and be like, oh, he's a trend hopper, trend chaser. That's also not okay. See, you have to understand the distinction I'm trying to make here, because for a long time I also thought the same way. I was like, oh, look at these people, they're hopping trends and stuff like that. Look at what they're wearing. It's like that's a very bad, toxic way to look at it. It's more so, are you leaning into what you actually want to wear? Right? Are you leaning into what you actually want to wear, or is it because of how other people are going to perceive you? Right? There's a huge difference there. Take some time to think about that, right? Because especially when it comes to trending things, it can be very easy to convince ourselves that we're doing it for ourselves when we're not. Like for example, I wanted to buy a white sneaker weeks back, but for some reason I had my mind set on Air Forces. For me, in that scenario, I realized for me it's a big trend thing because I see so many people wearing them. I was like, oh, dude, I'd fit in perfectly. But then I realized it didn't go along with my style very well. So that's how I realized my BS. I was like, wait, I'm doing this because other people want me to do it, not because those are the kind of shoes that would fit my style and the kind of shoes that I would actually like and enjoy. You know what I mean? So you have to be very, very careful about that kind of thing. Now, of course, if that's just what you want to wear and that's what your style and it just happens to be trending, stuff like that, bro, for sure, wear it. I'm just making sure you're wearing what you want to wear and not what other people within your mind, when you're looking around, have kind of almost told you to wear so that you fit in within their circles and things like that, right? That idea also kind of prevents a lot of you from making that jump to very relatable clothing or very, oh, I care about what other people think, to caring less. Now, of course, I'm not saying care all the way less. I think something like that would be like the fashion industry, right? Like they're very, I think, niche to a particular group. And so they seem like they just care a lot less. Now, I could just be speaking completely out of the blue here, right? But that's just how it seems. Like they don't care. Like some of the things you've seen people wear at the Grammy, stuff like that, it's crazy, right? Like something no one would really wear. They're just wearing it for the sake of wearing it. They just want to look the way they want to look. They want to be talked about, things like that. So, of course, but transitioning from more relatable to caring a little bit less, it's like that's a very difficult jump to make sometimes, right? For a lot of you people, it's not easy. You have to essentially kind of go slowly, go very, very slowly. You kind of build into your aesthetic. For example, I'll use myself as an example, right? So for the longest time, I was just wearing, what is it? For the longest time, I was just wearing regular sweatpants. I'd wear some rings, and then I'd wear like a collared t-shirt, tuck it into those sweatpants, and then wear a sweatshirt that was the same color as those sweatpants. So like, for example, like a let's say a white collared t-shirt, right? And then I'd wear that, and then I'd wear a sweatshirt that was like black and full sleeve, and then sweatpants, right? And slowly I started realizing that my aesthetic isn't more of like the relatable kind of aesthetic, which For some people, again, that is, and sometimes that ends up being the trend. But if that's your actual style and you're true to yourself, that's completely fine, right? But if it isn't, then slowly lean into that. So slowly buy, like, okay, maybe a pair of shoes that would work to lean into that aesthetic a little bit more. Maybe a shirt, maybe a pant. You don't have to spend hundreds of dollars, okay? There's absolutely no need for that. Okay, maybe it depends on your fashion sense and things like that, but for most people, I would not think that that's the case at all. Okay, so I started transitioning from like just very very casual wear, just like sweatpants, like hoodie, stuff like that, to more of like an old money aesthetic without the money part, right? Because your boy's not rich, right? So we got to stick with something simple. So sometimes I'll go to like H&M, and I know that can get pretty expensive for a lot of people as well. So like I'll stick to literally two or three items like max, especially if they're on sale, like three items like max. Or if I'm like rewarding myself or going out for winter shopping like once in a blue moon, that's what I'll buy max, and I'll kind of lean into my aesthetic more and more. So you see my aesthetic going into more of like a, how would I say this? Kind of like an old money fashion. Like I like wearing a lot of dress pants now. I don't think if you're watching this, you know that if you're at my campus and whatnot, you've seen me walking around in dress pants. I also tuck in most of my shirts most of the time too. I'm usually pretty. I don't know the fashion terms for them, but like I'm in usually one color completely, right? So I'm using myself as an example to tell you that I'm slowly leaning into it, right? I went from sweatpants to now dress pants, and now I just put a belt on that. Boom. And then I slowly started changing the shoes as well. I bought white sneakers, like a different kind that I actually enjoy. Now, that also brings me to another point, right? Don't be different for the sake of being different either, right? Don't be different for the sake of being different. You don't want to be different for the sake of being different. Here's why. Here's why I keep repeating that as well, because then your fashion sense is highly controlled by what's relatable, right? So if this moves, your fashion sense also moves. So that's why it's a problem. And that's why you'll also fall into that category of trying to people please to some degree, right? Because you want them to think that you're the opposite of what everybody else is rocking all the time. And since this moves around a lot, you're going to move around a lot too. So why do that when you can just lean into what you genuinely are? Because you have to understand that people are going to say and think what they want no matter what you do, bro. No matter what you do, quite frankly, right? So that's no dress. Oh my gosh, that's no different when it comes to dressing. I just can't talk. Same thing. You'll be judged for that as well. There'll always be, even when you're in the relatable category, there'll always be a certain amount of group of people that'll be like, oh, oh, he's doing the trendy stuff, and then all the other people will be like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool, that's pretty dope. But then you niche down a little bit. Like, no, I'm just saying, no matter what scenario you're in, even if you niche down, even if you don't, there's going to be a certain group of people that just don't like the way you dress, don't like the way you look, things like that, and that's fine, that's completely okay. And then there's going to be a certain amount of people that do, and I'm talking more in the sense of like attraction, I guess, right? Because this isn't more so something you lose friends over. Oh, you're not dressed the way you are, I don't like you. Like, yeah, yeah. Like for example, I also told one of my other friends to do that too. He has more of like a baggy aesthetic, right? So I told him to lean into that a little bit more, and he had been, and he looks sick doing it. Not the kind of style I would personally rock, right? And people will think, oh, then you're lying to him. It's like, no, it just wouldn't look good on me, and I don't like it. But I can see how that can be very very appealing, right? And he's put it together very very nicely. So I can have a level of appreciation for different styles as well, and you can as well, you know? Like, for example, I'm not old money, even though that's what I'm leaning towards, I'm not old money style all the time, right? Sometimes I'm more of like I dress more messier, right? And so I'll have like a wife beater dress pants and then like just like a dress shirt sitting on top, like unbuttoned. And so you see the wife beater a little bit, you see my little pendant. That's how I dress sometimes, right? So my style deviates a little bit too. And that's fine. I'm just telling you, if you heard literally nothing that I said within this video, just be you and lean into it slowly. You don't have to make a drastic change, okay? Because I know there's going to be some degree of that little thing within your mind that's saying, oh, they're going to care. Oh, they're going to say stuff about your outfit. But I'm telling you, most of the time, people are focused way too much on themselves to actually care about you. That's what helps me lean into my style as much as I have already. You know, I made a quick jump because I made the realization. And, you know, I'm just telling you so you'll just know. But, like, you have to actually realize it. You have to put into the scenario in your mind that, oh, wait, when I walk into class late, or when I walk into certain places or certain areas, or walk into a shop, or yeah, like I walk into class or I walk in somewhere, you always think, oh my God, everybody's watching me. Everybody sees what I'm wearing. Do I look good? It's like, chill. I guarantee you, they looked at you for zero point 0.2 seconds and then they're right back to focusing on themselves again. Because that's how we are as people. Right? We're so worried about how people are viewing us at that point. It's like that spotlight effect. Right? And that false audience, I think that's what you call it in psychology. That effect as well, where you have a sense that people are just watching you all the time and that you have the spotlight on top of you. So one little minor misstep that you make, oh, I took a step weird. Oh no, they saw that. No, bro, trust me. No one cares. You know, that's particularly what helped me lean into my style a little bit more and make a greater jump. But if you feel as if you can't do that, then I would start by just buying simple articles of clothing, leaning into what you want, you know? You know, and it's okay to also not know what you want in terms of style. Of course, I'm going to advocate for a degree of modesty when it comes to that, but being Muslim and whatnot, but again, it's okay to not know what your style is. You just kind of like figure it out. It takes time, right? So, because there's so much that like fashion has to offer. Sometimes you might create your own. Like, for example, my specific aesthetic is, again, old money, but then I kind of switch it up with my accessories and things like that. So one of my biggest inspiration is Johnny Depp, right? So you could probably see it with like the mustache. I like having longer hair as well. I just feel more of like I don't know, this is gonna sound cringy, but like I like the more of like the musky, masculine warrior kind of look. So that's what I'm going for. And then I like wearing a lot of accessories, and putting on, you know, my Dior Sauvage. So, you know, that's like the whole Johnny Depp kind of, you know, look. Because I grew up with Pirates of the Caribbean, so I very much like his style and I very much appreciate it. So mine's kind of a combination of both of those things if I was to simplify it, but it changes a lot. Like sometimes I look very, very messy, right? Very, very like nonchalant, don't care kind of style. Sometimes I look very studious. It just depends. It just depends on what I'm going for, you know? So yeah, lean into what you want, wear what you want. Don't be different for the sake of being different. Okay? And if your style is actually your trend, actually what's trending right now, that's fine. You're gonna hear it from a bunch of people too. Oh, look, he's wearing what's trending. It's fine. It is what it is. You're bound to hear something from someone, no matter how good or bad your outfit looks. It doesn't matter, right? So stick with that if that's truly you. Just be you, right? I put that in several different ways in this video, but I just wanted to make sure I got the full spectrum of ideas. I know this video was a little bit like more of like a mess, but I just had a lot more topics I wanted to talk about. So it is a little bit all over the place, but I'll try to organize it as best I can. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for y'all. So peace. Take it easy.